Today is 2 Peter chapter 3 verses 5 through 7. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of Elohim the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished by the heavens and the earth, which are now, by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto the fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Our selection today is Gonna Rain.
It's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. You better get ready and bear this in mind. Yahshua Noah showed him the rainbow sign. Said it won't be water, but fire next time. It's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. You better get ready and bear this in mind. Yahshua Noah showed him the rainbow sign. Said it won't be water, but fire next time.
Way back in the Bible days, no one told the people it's gonna rain. But when he told them, they paid him no mind. And when it happened, they were left behind. Oh,
it's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. You better get ready and bear this in mind. Yahshua Noah showed him the rainbow sign. Said it won't be water, but fire next time.
Noah called the animals 2 by 2. Male and female, they knew just what to do. The windows of heaven open just right, 'cause it's gonna rain for 40 days and nights. Oh,
it's gonna rain,
believe it,
it's gonna rain. You better get ready and bear this in mind. Yahshua Noah showed him the rainbow sign. Said it won't be water, but fire next time.
They tell me when the water began to pour, they knocked on the window, they knocked on the door. Now they didn't know exactly what to do. Now you don't want this to happen to you. Oh,
it's gonna rain,
believe it,
it's gonna rain. You better get ready and bear this in mind. Yahshua Noah showed him the rainbow sign. Said it won't be water, but fire next time.
Noah wanted people and plenty of time, but they were too sinful and blind. Then when the rain came, they tried to pray, but their prayers were given in vain. Oh,
it's gonna rain,
believe it,
it's gonna rain.
yeah.
You better get ready and bear this in mind. Yahshua Noah showed him the rainbow sign. Said it won't be water, but fire next time.
Noah said, I'm sorry, my friend. God's got the key and you can't get in. If something don't happen to the hearts of men, the same old thing is gonna happen again. Oh,
it's gonna rain,
believe it,
it's gonna rain.
yeah.
You better get ready and bear this in mind.
You know
Yahshua Noah showed him the rainbow sign. Said it won't be water, but fire next time. It's gonna rain,
believe it,
it's gonna rain.
yeah.
You better get ready and bear this in mind.
You know it.
Yahshua Noah showed him the rainbow sign. Said it won't be water, but fire next time.
fire next time. Said it won't be water, but fire next time. Said it won't be water, but fire next time.
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication, and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. You know that when we look off into the things that Yahshua stated, he said, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. He warned his disciples, these priests in training, to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. And what he was dealing with was their doctrine. The Pharisees were the priests and the teachers. These were the ones who were teaching the other people. So he warned them about their doctrine. We have to deal with regular men, but understand the leaven of men is coming upon us, and it comes upon us even heavier during this time of year, because man is getting ready to partake in the things that they have received from their leaders. And whenever you don't go with the status quo, the questions are put to you to prove whether or not what you have is authentic. We in no way think that we have the right to question them. And that's an erroneous stance. All of those questions are coming to you because you don't do what they are doing. But you will find when you get ready to question them, they don't have any idea why they do the things that they do. That's the whole thing about the status quo, is people are going with the flow of everybody else. They don't really understand why, and it's important for us to not only know why we do what we do, but while we're doing what we're doing, they are at the same time cutting us down. One of the things that was in the choir reading, they are willingly ignorant, is a amazing part of Scripture. Willingly ignorant. You have to sit there for a minute. Sometimes you go past something, you'll hear it because you're so ready to process what's in the next verse. There's sometimes, and that's when you're alone and you're reading, sometimes you just need to sit still for a minute. And instead of going and saying, I'm going to make sure I read this whole chapter tonight. Maybe you need to read that chapter 2 nights. Because you might need to get to certain places and just sit there for a minute. Willingly ignorant. That is something that you have to ponder on. Because there are very, very educated people in all of these organizations and all of these various religious groups. They are not stupid. They're not dumb. They're not any of those things. But they are willingly ignorant. They chose to be ignorant. Matter of fact, you have encountered the willingly ignorant. You just didn't know what it was. When you get to the point of teaching them and they say, I don't want to hear. You, my friend, have just encountered the willingly ignorant. And they don't want you to save them. Don't save me from this ignorance. This is what my peace is. I found my peace in ignorance. See, the peace in ignorance is, look, I don't want to know what's happening. You may go up to somebody, it's like, a mechanic who knows certain things, and say, I hear something sound like it's ticking in your engine. Look, I don't want to hear no bad news. I don't want to hear no. Now, look, you keep your little mechanic information to yourself. I don't need that. They want to be willingly ignorant until the day the car dies on I-285, and then they call. Excuse me, mechanic, you busy? Oh, that tick showed up again. Yeah, but it was more like a clunk this time. Right. That's what willingly ignorant does. It doesn't save them. It saves their feelings until the day of reckoning. That's why people want to be willingly ignorant. And we have to deal with it. This is the leaven of men. And what they're trying to do is to cast their willing ignorance onto you and to see if you are willing to accept it. So we're going to begin today's sermon in John chapter 19. And we're going to read verses 28 through 37. And today's sermon is entitled The Leaven of Men. And we understand that leaven is a representation of sin. Leaven makes the bread rise. Anything that rises is puffed up or goes against the order. And we sometimes hate order. This is why people would rather be at a gathering before they would be at a holy gathering. Why? Because a holy gathering has order. A gathering has no order at all. So you can come how you want, when you want, with whom you want. But a holy convocation has order. I remember when my elder first got to, and I know some of y'all, this is all you've ever known. But there was a point I was growing in the word when my elder decided, you know what? I've been ignoring this long enough. The men and the women have to be separated. Oh, it was so many people that had gotten accustomed to reading scriptures while holding Honey Boo Boo hand. It caused a stir. He had some hot people, and it wasn't just sisters that was hot. It was some hot brothers too. But I'm accustomed to reading scriptures while holding Sharon's hand. Well, bro, you ain't gonna do it no more. But and it wasn't even a separate room. It was just on separate sides. So then you know that folks will get there early so they can get the corner seat. So that way it wouldn't be nothing separating them and Honey Boo Boo but an aisle. You know, every now and then they can just reach over. Okay, I'll make sure you're still there. That was a big deal. It was always in the book. But when you move up to do stuff like that, see, these are the sacrifices, the spiritual sacrifices that are made. And it's much better than any other thing that we could do. That was very difficult for him. He knew he was going to face backlash when he instituted it. He knew that. When he started pushing total head covering, oh my God. Some of y'all don't even know that because it's been like that since you stepped in this door. I had to jump on a few brothers because one of my relatives came in here at a gathering that we had. They were already here when I got here. Wasn't no head covering on. Or it was either half covered or something. Brothers, can I talk to y'all for a second? What's happening? As soon as I saw him, I said, hey, you know I love you. But you know, I'm on my way out. So I dealt with that as soon as I walked in the door. Then I called, at that time, 2 priests over. Let me talk to y'all for a second. Let me talk to you for a second. Let me tell you something. I don't care who come in that door and who you think they supposed to be to me. If they don't adhere to these rules, they're going to have to step on the outside of that door. When they told Yahshua, they said, your mama out there. Who you talking about? my mom, my brother, my sister, my brother, my family right here. You know what I'm saying? You see these people in this word with me? You see these people that's walking in this culture with me? So don't you ever think because this person means such and such to them, we not going to say anything. I said, you better not a now another time. Don't you ever do it again. Because Yahweh don't care. He is an equal opportunity cutter. Yahweh cuts the tall, the short, the skinny, the fat, the light, the black. Oh, he gets everybody. And if I didn't say nothing, first one Yahweh was going to cut was me. And it wasn't even me that let it go. We said, no, you in charge, right? Where you think punishment start? See, that's our problem. We want to be in control until the punishment start. Then we want to stop it. It was this woman you gave me. I need you to listen to something. Woman you gave me. Listen to your own step to try to get out of it. I gave her to you. Thus, whose responsibility is she? I want you to listen to your own cop-out. All right? Say your cop-out slower because I need you to hear it. It was the woman you gave me. So I ask you, whose woman is it? Oh, okay. All right. So guess who's about to get this woman? Right. And for all you young brothers who getting ready to get off into life and you looking at women and you young sisters who are looking at men, understand something. The choices you make are going to mean a lot later on down the line. So choose wisely. And a lot of times we choose something by how good it look in clothing. There's spiritual clothing that you don't see right away. We call them faces. Sometimes somebody got on a face. And you don't know what you're dealing with until they take those clothing off. See, when you get up in age, you find out that there's clothes that are body enhancements. See, you young kids don't know nothing about that. What do you mean? You know, the enhancement, it tucking in, it push up, it do all kind of stuff. And then you take that clothing off and stuff run everywhere. It'll be all over the yard. But when you a man married, that don't bother you. See, that bother you. Wait a minute, this is not what I thought it was. Pay attention. There are spiritual enhancements that people make, but they only make them for the Sabbath day or for special occasions. If you slow down long enough, you find the enhancements. Wait a minute, I thought you were this type of person. That's because you ain't been around long enough before you made the decision. So we have to start paying attention. Leaven comes in all forms. And that's on the male and the female side. None of us are exempt from this. And sometimes Yahweh knows it's something in there that you ain't gonna like. Sometimes it wasn't the person that hid it from you. It was Yahweh. He didn't want you to know that yet. Why? Because that's what he assigned to you. No, this yours. Yeah? You gonna wrestle, you gonna tussle, you gonna roll up down. This is yours right here. If it roll down the street, I'm gonna tie it to your leg. And when it roll down the street, guess who rolling with it? you going to. Right. Go ahead, my brother.
Your Honor, in chapter 19 and verse 28. After this, Yahshua, knowing that all things were now accomplished, that the scripture might be fulfilled, says, I thirst. Now there was set a vessel full of vinegar, and they filled a sponge with vinegar, and put it upon hyssop, and put it to his mouth. When Yahshua therefore had received the vinegar, he said, It is finished. And he bowed his head and gave up the ghost. The Yehudis, therefore, because it was the preparation that the body should not remain upon the cross on the Sabbath day, for the Sabbath day was an high day.
All right, so we began to talk about a little bit of this in Bible study. One of the cop-outs, one of the leaven of men that they use to not deal with the Sabbath is to say that they don't know when the Sabbath is. Okay? So this is New Testament. Okay? And verse 31 says, the Yehudis, therefore, because it was the preparation. The preparation is the day before the Sabbath. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get to the reading so you can prove this. Okay? But this is something that you're going to need to have because all of Yahweh's holy days are based on the foundation of the Sabbath. So when somebody says you can't really tell when the Sabbath is, you don't understand. They're not just going against the Sabbath. They're going against everything holy. Because that is the foundation. See, before they built any house, they laid the foundation first. Once the foundation has cured, it's solid, then they start building the building. You can't build on wet concrete. You can't build on moving sand. So by attacking the foundation, it enables them to attack everything after it. So I don't think you really understand what you're hearing when you hear somebody go against the Sabbath. That is what enables them to do whatever they want, how they want. Go ahead.
Besought Pilate that their legs might be broken and that they might be taken away.
So they want to hurry up and get this process over. Go ahead.
Then came the soldiers and brake the legs of the first and of the other which was crucified with him. But when they came to Yahshua and saw that he was dead already, they brake not his legs. Mm-hmm. But one of the soldiers with a spear pierced his side, and forthwith came there out blood and water. And he that saw it bare record, and his record is true, and he knows that he saith true, that you might believe. For these things were done, that the scripture should be fulfilled. A bone of him shall not be broken. Mm-hmm. And again another scripture says, they shall look on him whom they pierced. And after this, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Yahshua, but secretly for fear of the Yehudis, besought Pilate that he might take away the body of Yahshua. And Pilate gave him leave. He came therefore and took the body of Yahshua. And there came also Nicodemus, which at first came to Yahshua by night, and brought a mixture of myrrh and aloe, both about 100-pound weight. Then took they the body of Yahshua and wound it in linen clothes, with the spices, as the manner of the Yehudis is to bury. Now in the place where he was crucified there was a garden, and in the garden a new sepulchre, wherein was never man yet laid. There laid they Yahshua therefore, because of the Yehudis' preparation day.
Because of the Yehudis' preparation day. So here we go again with this preparation. Things have to be done. See, we get to the point where, we act surprised every week. Like the Sabbath snuck up on us. Like we were doing something and the Sabbath just... Pooh! What happened, man? The Sabbath, I turned around, Sabbath right there. Like you didn't know it was coming. I didn't do this. I didn't do this. Why you didn't do none of that? You knew when it was coming. See, the preparation day is the day that you're supposed to get all of those things ready. And it's funny. The more time we got, the more late we are. The more time we have. We get 2 months to do something, it's going to take us 3. That's why you have to fool Jake sometimes. I ain't gonna lie, sometimes we tell y'all 8, we really ain't gonna start to 9. But see, if I tell y'all 9, y'all ain't gonna get here to 10. You got to operate with a different clock when you're dealing with Jake. You need something in a month, you got to tell Jake, this got to be done in a week and a half. The sky gonna fall open, and I'm angels gonna fall if this ain't done in a week and a half. Jake might get it to you by the end of the month. That's kind of how we operate. So I want you to read the definition of preparation.
G 3904, which makes it a Greek word, periskua. Paraskua, as if from G3903, readiness, preparation.
All right, so it is getting ready. So now let's go to Exodus chapter 16. So all of Israel knew about this preparation. So to understand this preparation, and we're going to go through some things so that we can understand exactly what it was they were talking about. Now understand, the leaven of men has already excluded this information, because the leaven of men tells them don't go in the Old Testament unless you're dealing with tithing. And this reading here has nothing to do with tithing. So, the leaven of men said we ain't got no business being here anyway. So understand, you're going to get some fight at this point. Go ahead.
And they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came on to the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after their departing out of the land of Egypt. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moshe and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to Elohim we had died by the hand of Yahweh in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For you have brought us forth into this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger.
Now, Israel doesn't really consider, or none of us do, when we're going into something and it seems tumultuous to us, we're in our own, it's a woe is me moment. So all that we're thinking about is our inconvenience. We're not really thinking about anybody else and how they're feeling about the things that are coming out of our mouth. So right here, the children of Israel said, Would to Elohim we had died by the hand of Yahweh in the land of Egypt. They're not really considering how they're making Yahweh feel with this statement. All they're thinking about is their inconvenience. And that's where we get. I used to constantly lose stuff. And my statement would be, man, somebody done stole my such and such. Now, I didn't consider the people who was in the room saying, this brother's trying to accuse me of being a thief. Ain't nobody helping me and him. So what do you mean somebody done stole? Ain't only somebody in here is me. Then I had to reconsider how I was doing that and deal with my own thing. Man, I have misplaced my such and such. You don't even consider how you're making that other person feel. Somebody done stole it. Why somebody had to steal it? You just don't know where it is. See, they're not really trying to hurt Yahweh, but they done cut him open. All that I've done for you, and this is what comes out of your mouth? With Elohim, we were dead. What? Now I don't know what I'm doing because you feel some type of way? Go ahead.
Then said Yahweh unto Moshe, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them whether they will walk in my law or no.
This is that point where Yahweh puts you in a situation where your own heart proves you. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in.
Stop. So the 6th day is the preparation. Wait a minute now. He says, he finished his work and he rested in the 7th day. All right. So then we have this situation where we're reading in the New Testament and it says this preparation day. The next day is the Sabbath then. All right. So this is what people are not going to allow you to read to them to get in order. But to understand some of the things that are in the New Testament, you have to have an understanding of the things that's in the foundation, which is the Old. So now we're reading about this preparation. See, we don't, I've gone and I've, been in houses, Jewish houses, as the Sabbath is coming in and watch all of the stuff with them cooking bread, them doing all of these things, and it's interesting that we have all of these shows now, the housewives of this and the housewives of that. You don't see any of them cooking. You don't see any of them cleaning. But they swear they're a housewife. I ain't seen nobody cook. I ain't seen nobody clean. I ain't seen nobody drop the kids off at soccer practice. I ain't seen them make no lunch. I ain't even seen no Lunchable. Sometimes, you're in a rush, you just throw in a Lunchable. Poof. I've seen none of that, but they are labeled as housewives. We have been infected by this programming. Because now we think a housewife sit at home and plan trips to the Bahamas. A man got a housewife, when he hit the door, what's that? Oh, baby, they call that dinner. That's what that is. Why that ain't ready when he hit the door? He's supposed to smell that outside. What you think you're home for? Oh, that's supposed to be taken care of. Kids supposed to already had their lessons. All these things supposed to be taken care of. I tell you what, if you had been clocked in at that white man job, I bet you were going to do everything that he said. I bet you would have did every bit of it. Well, and that white man ain't taking no excuse. Not a damn nutter. He ain't taking none of that. You're going to do everything that he said do, and you're going to do it before 429. But we get at home, here come the excuses. Well, I woulda, and I shoulda, if I coulda. Right. Go ahead, bro.
And it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. And Moshe and Aaron said unto all the children of Israel, At even, then you shall know that Yahweh has brought you out from the land of Egypt. And in the morning then you shall see the glory of Yahweh, for that he hears your murmuring against Yahweh. And what are we that you murmur against us? And Moshe said, this shall be when Yahweh shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the full. For Yahweh hears your murmurings which you murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against Yahweh.
Your murmurings are against Yahweh. See, we just the people you see. Who you have a problem with is your Elohim. Go ahead.
And Moshe spake unto Aaron, say unto all the congregation of the children of Israel, come near before Yahweh, for he has heard your murmurings. And it came to pass, as Aaron spake unto the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked toward the wilderness. And, behold, the glory of Yahweh appeared in the cloud. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel. Speak unto them, saying, at even you shall eat flesh, and in the morning you shall be filled with bread, and you shall know that I am Yahweh, your El. And it came to pass that at even the quails came up and covered the camp, and in the morning the dew lay round about the host. And when the dew that lay was gone up, behold, upon the face of the wilderness there lay a small round thing, as small as the hoarfrost on the ground.
Now, you have to look at Yahweh's methods to really understand how your method should be. Before he gives them the manna, he has already had a period of them not eating to the point that they feel like they're about to starve. There's a situation where he knows that they're going to kick back. So he removes some things before he can give this thing. It's all about creating perspective. And when you do these things, you know, we never consider that sometimes we are making the problem. You know, you know you don't have that much money and you give somebody a credit card. You setting problems. And they getting accustomed to that buying power. That's why when folks go to the divorce court and they say, oh no, you got to pay this much money for these many years. Why? Because you got her accustomed to this lifestyle. So you have to allow her the opportunity to change. So for 3 years, I need you to pay this much until she finds a way to create the lifestyle that you got her accustomed to. So when you say, no, it's all right, you ain't got to do that, boom, put a check on it. Oh, that's all right, you ain't got to do that, boom, put a check on it. Then you come in, well, why this ain't done? Who told me I ain't have to do it? Right. Yahweh know when to back up. You better learn. You better learn. You know what? Let me hit these brakes right here. Let me go in reverse. We got to go fix. I saw something at the last exit that I need to fix. We finna go back around on the expressway. We finna loop back around, and I'm finna go fix that thing right there. Then we're gonna go back on our journey. But I gotta go fix that. Because if I don't fix that, it's gonna show back up another 10 exits down this road. And it's gonna be worse than what I just saw. We don't like to admit that we made an error and we got to turn around and go fix it. But you can fix it now, or you can fix something that's 20 times worse further on down the road. Pick your poison. Go ahead, brother.
Now you were talking about the young people in the room, and you said, you know, the lifestyle she's gotten used to. Mm-hmm. It reverses too, because I've seen where they allow the alimony for the man. Mm-hmm. So women, you also got to be careful of how or what lifestyle you allow him to get used to as well.
And part of that lifestyle is, hey, you ain't got to cut the grass. Then you come home to a wilderness. Where's the house? Through those trees. We didn't have no trees. Oh, so that's grass. You let the grass grow so long you thought it was a tree? So what? she got him accustomed that he didn't have to do none of that stuff. You know, and I'm not telling sisters to go and be indignant, you know. A classy sister know how to lay something on you without, you know, going. You know, classy sister know how to lay it down, right? Whew, that grass sure is getting high. Message pick up, bing, and then she off in the next room. Leave you to ponder with your thoughts. See that's how a woman lay it out there. See, you don't jump up in a man's face. But if you ain't saying nothing, then you letting him get comfortable with that. I must admit, for many years, I didn't do a whole lot of yard work. Now people can't, now they be mad at me, but will you come out from out there? You been out here since 7 o'clock in the morning. I ain't ate. I'm about to pass out. Folks bring me snacks and drink. What is wrong with you? I didn't do this for 20 years. But see, I also had some crutches around me. You know, people who couldn't keep a job, and I helped them, you know. And for a while, even my helping them was getting me accustomed to not doing my own work. Now I'm doing stuff that I never thought. Man, I got saws and drills. I got all of these things I never would have used. 7 o'clock in the morning, my folks wake up to, yeah. What are he doing now? What is he doing now? I'm actually amazed that I can do it. Pardon me. It's like I just figured out, this is what you use a hammer for? So, hey, you're right, brother. It goes both ways. Go ahead.
Exodus chapter 16 and verse 15. And when the children of Israel saw it, they said one to another, it is manna, for they knew not what it was. And Moshe said unto them, this is the bread which Yahweh has given you to eat. This is the thing which Yahweh has commanded. Gather of it every man according to his eating, and omer for every man according to the number of your persons. Take you every man for them which are in his tents.
So then now you're seeing that it's coming along, that he's making a more information about this preparation, and it's dealing with the manna. Now, when you're dealing with the leaven of men, the way you're going to have to push the manna is by starting at the end and then go to the beginning. What did Yahshua say he was? The manna from heaven. No person who believes in this book is going to gainsay you about that. So know where to start. You're going to start with the manna of heaven. Then you're going to get to the regular manna. Then you're going to get to the preparation. Know how to start your debate. Go ahead.
And the children of Israel did so, and gathered some more, some less. And when they did meet it with an omer, he that gathered much had nothing over, and he that gathered little had no lack. They gathered every man according to his eating. And Moshe said, let no man leave of it till the morning. Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto Moshe, but some of them left of it until the morning. And it bred worms and stank. And Moshe was angry with them.
Okay, so Yahweh is even making a purpose here. They left of it, and this is how you know we in here. It stank. It didn't stink. It stank. This has its purpose. Keep reading.
And they gathered every morning, every man according to his eating. And when the sun waxed hot, it melted. And it came to pass that on the 6th day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moshe.
Right. Now we went and picked up the same amount, or the same, that we normally do, but we get back and we got twice as much. Now, you told us not to leave it because last time it stank. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, this is that which Yahweh has said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto Yahweh. Bake that which you will bake today, and seed that you will seed, and that which remains overlay up for you to be kept until the morning. And they laid it up till the morning, and as Moshe bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worm therein.
Okay, so in the preparation, they got twice as much, so they could do all of this labor, and they wouldn't have to worry about doing all of that stuff on the Sabbath. So understand something. When we have, understand, this is a culture where our people everybody's walking in that culture. So the man is out in the field or out taking care of this business, and the women are taking care of this. And people say, well, we're not in our culture. All right. But if you are a woman and you are allowed to be at home, this is not the time to watch Judge Judy all day. Here go this culture right here. This is what's happening on the preparation day. Go ahead.
And Moshe said, eat that today, for today is a Sabbath unto Yahweh. Today you shall not find it in the field. 6 days you shall gather it, but on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, in there shall be none. In it there shall be none. And it came to pass that there went out some of the people on the seventh day for to gather, and they found none.
Now here is Israel and all of our issues right here. Here it is. We got double the amount on the preparation day. So we're taken care of. We still go out on the Sabbath. See, that's us. See, now we want to get a jump for tomorrow. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe, how long refuse you to keep my commandments and my laws?
Stop. Every man, read that line again. So tell me when did we see Moshe out there picking? Come on, Cletus, come on. When did we see Moshe out there gathering? What was Yahweh's statement to him? How long refuse you? Oh, so he holding you responsible for everything that's done under you. Okay, men. He's holding you responsible for everything that the people who are under you do. Read.
See, for that Yahweh has given you the Sabbath. Therefore he gives you on the sixth day the bread of 2 days. Abide you every man in his place. Let no man go out of his place on the seventh day.
Now, Moshe understand this, right? Because he almost got killed because his wife didn't want to circumcise them boy. You understand that? So he's not, see, right here, we would have been like, why are you talking to me like that? Yahweh, why you coming at me like that? I can't believe you coming at me like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I ain't go out here, I ain't pick nothing. I mean, why you coming at me? You coming at me. I see smoke and fire. You know what I'm saying? I hear a trumpet. Why you coming at me like that? He already know, because the angel was about to kill him. So what he had to do? Go argue with a woman. You mean to tell me there's holy arguments? Yep. There's arguments that's supposed to take place. You need to have an argument with your woman, or you can die. Argument, please. Sign me up. What did I sign this? Can we do this at 10? What, is there a schedule? Let me go ahead and sign me up. But see, some of us are jump right in the brother face. Oh, but we real soft when it come to Cookie Nookie. We don't want to talk to Cookie Nookie. We don't want to make no arguments with Cookie Nookie. But we'll jump in the brother face. I said, yeah, but get what? He holding you responsible for everything that happened. You the head of the house. So if you got a soft spot problem, you have a Yahweh problem. arguments are the necessary ones. He don't care what color your house is. He don't care what color the drapes is. That's not a holy argument. The things that are supposed to be done according to this culture, that is a holy argument. That he's holding you responsible for. The order, that is a holy argument. That he's going to hold you responsible for. Go ahead.
So the people rested on the seventh day.
All right. I want you to read this. This is something that came from a website. Matter of fact, it says it on the graphic. Go to that next graphic. I want you to read that.
From Christianity.com.
I chose this website because it speaks for itself. You know what I'm saying? You know, why I chose it. This was on several websites. But I figured this one right here says everything that I needed to say, where it came from. Go ahead, bro.
On Good Friday, we remember the day.
And now go ahead and read it like I said.
Jesus willingly
There it is,
suffered
Jesus.
And
All right,
died by
because Christianity.com sure wasn't talking about Yahshua. All right. So I want to read it exactly like it is. Jesus, go ahead.
We remember the day Jesus willingly suffered and
Now,
died
if you just tune in, they thrown off right now. I just got on the Sabbath day and preached kids up there talking about Jesus. Suck them things. Man, I knew they were going to fall sooner or later. You see that? You see what happened when you get a piece of something? Somebody just tuned in just now. And that's what they heard. Jesus, when kids started reading Jesus. I knew that was going to happen. Go ahead, brother.
and died by crucifixion as the ultimate sacrifice for our sins. 1 John 1, verse 10. It is followed by Easter, the glorious celebration of the day Jesus was raised from the dead, heralding his victory over sin and death and pointing ahead to a future resurrection for all who are united to him by faith. Romans 6 and 5.
All right, now I want you to look at the graphic. It said they call it Good Friday. All right, it's a preparation day. He had to come down because they didn't want him up there on the Sabbath day. As the sun was going down, it was beginning to be the Sabbath. So then, understand, what? He rose on the third day. All right, so we got Friday, we got Saturday, then this they call their Easter Sunday. Okay, so then we go in reverse order. If they understand what Good Friday is, how is it they don't know when the Sabbath is? Now there's a reason why I got it from this website, because I want you to understand something. They are willingly ignorant. Okay, all right. Let's go to Acts chapter 13. And see, we see all of these things happening right now, and whenever it's the in thing to do, all of a sudden, you know, everybody is wanting to be interviewed by this person to show this and that. You know, Yahweh is not fooled. I remember when Farrakhan came out talking about, you know, the children of Israel. He's still a Muslim. But black people are the real children of Israel. What you care for? You're a Muslim. But see, everybody think they can change at the last moment. And they think Yahweh gonna be fooled. Yahweh not gonna be fooled. He gonna know who was down from the beginning. Didn't y'all sure? He said, some of y'all just came to eat. Y'all didn't come from the true bread of heaven. Y'all came from the bread that you can put in your belly. And he wanted them out of there. You should watch some of these interviews that people are giving, especially after this Kyrie thing. Folks calling themselves Hebrews and they use Jesus the whole time they talking. You ain't no Hebrew. And then they use this, the leader of the Israelites. No, he's the leader of that group of so-called Israelites. And it's more like Hebrew Christianites, because they not no Israelite. Even a basic understanding of Christianity understands baptism. How you calling yourself something you ain't even got no water? Go ahead, brother. Acts 13, and we're going to start it at verse 13.
Now when Saul and his company loosed from Paphos, they came to Perga in Pamphylia. And Johanan departing from them returned to Jerusalem. But when they departed from Perga, they came to Antioch in Pisidia, and went into the synagogues on the Sabbath day and sat down.
All right. Acts is after the birth, death, and resurrection of the Mashiach, whom they call Christ, Yahshua, and they are still keeping the Sabbath day. The apostles are keeping the Sabbath day. All the people that they talking about, these people are keeping the Sabbath day. Go ahead.
You know, you were mentioning about the going in reverse, back Good Friday, or Easter Sunday. And we've all known, if we sit down, one of them is showing, okay, why are your Pentecost always on a Sunday? We can show you how you get that every year.
Right.
It first begins with knowing when the Sabbath is.
Right. And counting 7 Sabbaths and then the next day. So if you counted 7 Sabbaths and the next day is Sunday, then you know exactly when the Sabbath is. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, their Pentecost should be Pentecost Monday. If you thought Sunday was the Sabbath, then you count 7 Sundays plus 1. Like the opening reading said, they are willingly ignorant. See, people are willingly ignorant because they want to keep doing what they're doing. And they don't want you to talk them off of that point. They got an ignorant switch and they won't let you touch it. Because they want the ignorant switch to stay on. Because they believe that it protects them. They believe that they're protected by ignorance. Go ahead.
And after the reading of the law and the prophets, the rulers of the synagogue sent on to them, saying, You men and brethren, if you have any word of exhortation for the people, say on. Then Saul stood up, and beckoning with his hand said, Men of Israel, and you that fear Elohim, give audience. The Elohim of this people of Israel chose our fathers, and exalted the people when they dwelt as strangers in the land of Egypt, and with an high arm brought he them out of it. And about the time of 40 years suffered he their manners in the wilderness. And when he had destroyed 7 nations in the land of Canaan, he divided their land to them by lot. And after that he gave unto them judges about the space of 450 years, until Samuel the prophet. And afterward they desired a king, and Elohim gave unto them Saul the son of Kish, a man of the tribe of Benjamin, by the space of 40 years. And when he had removed him, he raised up unto them Dawid to be their king, to whom also he gave testimony, and said, I have found Dawid the son of Jesse, a man after mine own heart, which shall fulfill all my will. Mm-hmm. Of this man's seed has Elohim, according to his promise, raised unto Israel a Savior, Yahshua. When Johanan had first preached before his coming, the baptism of repentance to all the people of Israel. And as Johanan fulfilled his course, he said, Whom think you that I am? I am not he. But behold, there comes one after me, whose shoes of his feet I am not worthy to loose. Men and brethren, children of the stock of Abraham, and whosoever among you fears Elohim, to you is the word of this salvation sent. For they that dwell at Jerusalem, and their rulers, because they knew him not, nor yet the voices of the prophets which are read every Sabbath day.
The voices of the prophets which are read every Sabbath day. Go ahead.
They have fulfilled them in condemning him. And though they found no cause of death in him, yet desired they Pilate that he should be slain. Mm-hmm. And when they had fulfilled all that was written of him, they took him down from the tree and laid him in a grave. But Elohim raised him from the dead, and he was seen many days of them which came up with him from Galilee to Jerusalem, who are his witnesses unto the people.
Right. Israel, you are my witnesses. Did not Yahweh already say, Israel, you are my witnesses that I am Elohim? So then when it comes down to it, who did he show himself to? Who did he go to? He went to Israel, and who did he show himself to first? Israel. You are his witnesses. But the leaven of men said, you know, it don't really matter, you know, who he looked like or who he came to. It just matters the end thing. He loves everybody. But he came to a certain group of people and he showed himself to a certain group of people. Go ahead.
You know, verse 27 towards the end there. It says, nor yet the voices of the prophets which are read every Sabbath day.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't say nor yet the voices of the prophets that are prophesied every Sabbath day, right?
Right.
Oh, okay.
So that strange purple doctrine don't fit here, do it?
I'm just asking a question.
You know? But I mean, what else you expect from some people who ain't been purified? See, it says when they got baptized and he laid hands on them, they received the Holy Spirit. All them people that's talking, they don't even have an opportunity to have the Holy Spirit. They ain't never got in no water. And then if they got in some, what name would they be baptized in? In one teaching, they're going to use the name Jesus. In another teaching, they're going to say Lord. In another teaching, they're going to say God. In another one, they're going to say Yahweh Shai. What the hell do you preach? It reminds me of the thing that was in the Mummy, where the guy just kept pulling out necklaces and he named every god until the Mummy was like, oh. He worshipped all the gods. Anybody use Lord, God, and Jesus? Please stop calling yourself an Israelite. Because that is not what you are. You can't call my God out of his name and think that we going to be cool. We get mad if somebody call our child out our name. But it's okay for you to call, you know, your God out of his name. You out your mind. Then you going to have a Hebrew name. But give my God some Latin Greek hybrid. And we supposed to be cool with that. No, we ain't cool. Go ahead, bro.
And we declare unto you glad tidings, how that the promise which was made unto the fathers, Elohim has fulfilled the same unto us, their children, in that he has raised up Yahshua again, as it is also written in the second Psalm, you are my son, this day have I begotten thee. And as concerning that he raised him up from the dead, now no more to return to corruption, he said on this wise, I will give you the sure mercies of David. Wherefore he says also in another psalm, you shall not suffer your Holy One to see corruption. For David, after he had served his own generation by the will of Elohim, fell on sleep, and was laid unto his fathers, and saw corruption. But he, whom Elohim raised again, saw no corruption. Be it known unto you, therefore, men and brethren, that through this man is preached unto you the forgiveness of sins. And by him all that believe are justified from all things, from which you could not be justified by the law of Moshe.
Right. The law of Moshe meant that you had to be justified by animal sacrifice. He's bringing another way, but he's not cutting down all the law. He's only dealing with the law of animal sacrifice because a much better sacrifice has now been made. That doesn't make you innocent from adultery because Yahshua came. And what you find is all these people, they use Yahshua to justify all of the sins that they get in.
Well, you know, because the law is nailed to the cross, you see.
Then soon as somebody steals something to them, they call 911. What happened? He stole from me. I thought the law was nailed to the cross. Why you mad?
Because he stole from me.
Yeah, but ain't no law.
No, I mean, but see, I'm not in the land. See, it's Bible law.
Okay, so where did we first get thou shalt not steal? Did it come from man or did it come from the Bible?
See, now you confusing me. Stop it. I don't want to hear no more.
Willingly ignorant. Go ahead.
Beware therefore, lest that come upon you, which is spoken of in the prophets. Behold, ye despisers, and wonder, and perish. For I work a work in your days, a work which you shall in no wise believe, though a man declare it unto you. And when the Yehudis were gone out of the synagogue, the Gentiles besought that these words might be preached to them the next Sabbath.
So the Gentiles understood the word being preached to them on the Sabbath and understood that it would be preached every Sabbath. After Yeshua's birth, death, and resurrection. All of this is taking place afterward. So if he so-called took care of the Sabbath, why are they keeping it afterward? Gentiles included. But see, leave them alone for a little while, and now 300 years later, they hold a council and decide, you know what, we're going to go back to our old ways. We're going to worship the sun on the sun's day. Right. See, they already worship the sun. See, they're dealing with us at this point. This is where you have to watch who you go in business with. Because one minute they merge into your company and they say, saying we business partners. And after a while, they own the business. Because they're getting this paperwork at you. Go ahead.
Now when the congregation was broken up, many of the Yehudis and religious proselytes followed Saul and Barnabas, who, speaking to them, persuaded them to continue in the grace of Elohim.
Now you see how there's a separation here. Now when the congregation was broken up, many of the Yehudis and religious proselytes, these are converts. But now the converts have taken the house and then called the children of Yehuda the proselytes. Go ahead.
And the next Sabbath day came almost the whole city together to hear the word of Elohim.
It was understood that this word was going to be heard on the Sabbath. This is New Testament. This is not Old Testament. So now let's go back. Let's back up to verses 1 through 3 in chapter 13. And let's see what some of these people look like who was keeping this.
Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers.
Now, prophets and teachers, these not proselytes. All right? Go ahead.
As Barnabas and Simeon that was called Nigger.
Now, I don't know why it shook up some of y'all. Y'all should already be ready. He was called nigger. Now, we're going to read that because some of y'all be like, that says Niger. I know that's what y'all want to say. And y'all want to say, there's a place called Nigeria. That's niggeria. There's a place called nigger and a place called niggeria. And it throw you off because, see, them people are even come over here talking about, I am from Nigeria. You are from niggeria. And we've been approved. Keep reading.
And Lucius of Cyrene and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch and Saul. As they ministered to the Adonai and fasted, the Holy Spirit said.
The Holy Spirit said. So you have these individuals who are being led by the Holy Spirit. These not proselytes. They're not the people who have converted. They're the ones who help and convert people. So they want to tell y'all, well, y'all got into the church. Now, that's not what I'm reading. We got a brother so black, they ain't call him nigga. Go ahead.
Separate me, Barnabas and Saul, for the work whereunto I have called them. And when they had fasted and prayed and laid their hands on them, they sent them away.
All right. So let's go ahead and first, I want you to read the definition of nigger.
From G3526, nigger.
Now, look at the pronunciation. It don't say, when it says nigger, you don't see no I in there. And those people talking about that say Niger. That says nigger. People say, I can't believe. Now think about the people who just turned in right now. This is what you want me to listen to? I came on there, I put on the UCI.org, and I come on, and all I hear, nigger. What? Not only is that what it say, read the definition.
Of Latin origin, black.
Black. That's the definition. So what threw me off as I was coming up, because I was getting bits and pieces of it. When I heard the Spanish, when they said negra, I said, oh, that's where they get, because I thought it came from Spanish originally. Then you understand, what do they call the Spanish? Latinas. Because they got conquered by another group. They actually, they don't understand what that is. They got conquered, this Latina, Latin. So then nigger, then you get negra from their Latin. Who had come from? Latin is what Gentiles spoke. Gentiles, this is their label. So they're calling you black in their language. Remember when the Bible was only written in Latin? The Catholics had people set on fire because they translated it. They didn't want any of the other Gentiles to be able to read it, only the ones who could read Latin. This is Latin. Understand what you're dealing with here. Now, our next question then is, if we see this here, it brings about a question. And this is what the definition says. So I want you to go to the next graphic, because I want to read something.
Hold on one second.
Go ahead, brother. You had something?
Yeah, no, there's still stuff in that definition we didn't get to.
All right.
Black, nigger, a Christian nigger.
Now you just said, a Christian nigga. You trying to start something? You know what I'm saying? You trying to start something? A Christian nigga. See, bro, why you starting stuff? You know what I'm saying? It is, man. We trying to keep this. We got enough problems as it is. Then here you go. That brother being anti-Semitic. But that's what the definition say. Okay? And it's a biblical definition. All right? This is not your Webster's. All right? This is a Bible dictionary. So I need you to understand that. All right? And it means black. And y'all know we customary call people by their color. We call light-skinned dude red. We call a dark-skinned dude black. So this they're accustomed to. But if you see that this is a Latin word, we understand that it was the white people calling him that. See, if it were just black, it would have been the Hebrew word for black. This is not a Hebrew word for black. So then we understand who gave him that. Oftentimes, when you get your proof, it will come from the people who are trying to mislead you. It's a Latin word that says black. We got your own word. We got your own word. It was you. We know it was you. We know it was you because it's a Latin word. We know you the one told us that the apostles was black. You told us. This your word. You told on you. This how we know you lying. Go ahead, Praise.
He said they were first called Christians at Antioch, right?
Uh-huh.
So anybody calling themselves a Christian, if I call you a nigga, you shouldn't get mad, right?
No, because you're wrong. They're a Christian nigga. Don't just say. Don't just say. If you just say nigga, you are wrong. You got to say the whole definition. According to my definition, you're a Christian nigga. Hey, Bible dictionary, you got a problem with it? Look it up. I'll talk to Strong's and Brown Drivers Briggs. Talk to them. Go ahead. No. I want to read this part. As we can clearly see by what's written in the text, this brother's real name, and I don't know if y'all paid that any attention, his name is Simeon. Okay? He was called nigger. All right? Which means heard or hear or obey. This name occurs in the canon 50 times, so it is safe to say that this was a common name. So instead of the common name of Simeon, he was called by his features. He was called nigger, obviously because of his dark skin. This particular holy servant of Yah must have been darker than the other Shemites he traveled with. I'm gonna sit there for a minute. I'm gonna let it ponder in. I want to let it sink. I want you to ponder on that for a minute. He's darker than the other Shemites. So when somebody tell you that you're being anti-Shemitic, they are actually trying to tell you that they are Shemitic, and they're not. We must ask ourselves, if this clearly is written in the book, why we have never seen an apostle or a prophet or a teacher that resembles the characteristics mentioned in the Bible. Some will say that it doesn't matter, but we must consider the power that an image has. An image can be powerful in the negative and powerful in the positive. So let's go to Ezekiel chapter 8. Now, it says, we read, a Christian nigga. So why, when we went to church on Sunday, we didn't see no Christian niggas on the wall? Hold on now. I'm asking, according to the definition of what's written here, why is it that everybody that we seen portrayed on the walls, none of them looked like us? The stained glass window didn't have anybody who resembled us. But I'm clearly reading here in the New Testament, not the Old Testament. And I'm reading it. It is a Latin word, so it's not our word. It was Gentiles who gave him this descriptive word of nigger. Let's go Acts chapter 8. Ezekiel chapter 8, and we're going to read verses 1 through 18.
And it came to pass in the 6th year, in the 6th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I sat in mine house, and the elders of Yehuda sat before me, that the hand of the Adonai fell there upon me. Then I beheld, and lo, a likeness as the appearance of fire. From the appearance of his loins even downward, fire, and from his loins even upward, as the appearance of brightness, as the color of amber.
Now, why they ain't said, it was like the color of snow? What about blue eyes? Did it say the blue eye? Wait a minute, I remember watching Good Times, and you said Jesse showed Jesus' eyes is blue. Yeah, did you see that episode of Good Times?
Yes.
They got mad because they painted Jesus black. Go ahead. And that was definitely a black Jesus. It wasn't Yahshua. Go ahead.
And he put forth the form of an hand, and took me by a lock of mine head. And the Spirit lifted me up between the earth and the heaven, and brought me in the visions of Elohim to Jerusalem, to the door of the inner gate that looks toward the north, where was the seat of the image of jealousy, which provokes to jealousy.
Wait a minute. An image of jealousy which provokes to jealousy. So then there's power in the image. So then they made sure that we would never see an image of us, because there's power in the image. Go ahead.
And behold, the glory of the Elohim of Israel was there, according to the vision that I saw in the plain. Then said he unto me, Son of man, lift up your eyes, now the way toward the north. So I lifted up mine eyes, the way toward the north, and behold, northward at the gate of the altar this image of jealousy in the entry. Mm-hmm. He said furthermore unto me, Son of man, see you what they do, even the great abominations that the house of Israel commits here, that I should go far off from my sanctuary? But turn you yet again, and you shall see greater abominations. And he brought me to the door of the court. And when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. Then said he unto me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. And when I had digged in the wall, behold, a door. And he said unto me, Go in, and behold the wicked abominations that they do here. So I went in and saw, and behold, every form of creeping things, and abominable beast, and all the idols of the house of Israel portrayed upon the wall round about.
Right. See, we still hold on to those things of Egypt, and then we pull in the things that we see from the other nations. So the image then is powerful.
So when people say, why does it matter that if he's black or not? Apparently, it matters what image is presented. Because instead of worshiping these things, look at what the power of the images have done to our people. So then think back if we had saw images of us. Go ahead.
And there stood before them 70 men of the ancients of the house of Israel. And in the midst of them stood Yazaniah the son of Shaphan, with every man his censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. Then said he unto me, Son of man, have you seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark, every man in the chambers of his imagery? For they say, Yahweh sees us not. Yahweh has forsaken the earth.
And he says the ancients, these are the elders. So if the leaders are operating this way, how is it not going to get to the people? Go ahead.
You know, when we look back at this whole thing of images portrayed up on the wall or idols, we think of little statues and whatever.
Right.
But they talk about pictures.
Pictures. Images, pictures. And then they're not even like of men. It said animals, creeping things. Jacob worship anything. Then we worship that snake when he gave them the brazen serpent. They turn around and start worshiping the thing. It ain't got to be a person. An image is just that, an image. Go ahead.
He said also unto me, Turn you yet again, and you shall see greater abominations that they do. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of Yahweh's house, which was toward the north. And behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. Then said he unto me, Have you seen this, O son of man?
Right, have you seen this? You think about what happens normally when you go to a church gathering. It was not about what we did in the past before we got in this word. It wasn't about education. It was about an emotional display of love. And what was happening? A whole bunch of weeping. Singing, dancing, and crying. That ain't nothing new. There they go right there. Go ahead.
Turn you yet again, and you shall see greater abominations than these. And he brought me into the inner court of Yahweh's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of Yahweh, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men with their backs toward the temple of Yahweh and their faces toward the east, and they worshiped the sun toward the east.
Stop. So when you get to the whole thing of Sunday, there's a reason why they moved the worship from the Sabbath day to Sunday, because they also worship the sun. When the Pope showed up at Yankee Stadium, he was standing in a sunburst and had a scepter in his hand, which was a sunburst. So when you get down to this, we have had this problem so long that Yahweh done gave us up to it. All right, you want to keep playing with the sun? I'm going to go ahead and let you worship it. So many of our people have no idea that they worshiping the sun, S-U-N. They think they worshiping the sun, S-O-N. But isn't that like Lucifer, just to change the, you won't surely die. Just add a little something in there. Go ahead.
Then he said unto me, Have you seen this, O son of man? Is it a light thing to the house of Yehudah that they commit the abominations which they commit here? For they have filled the land with violence and have returned to provoke me to anger. And, lo, they put the branch to their nose. Therefore will I also deal in fury. Mine eye shall not spare, neither will I have pity. And though they cry in mine ears with a loud voice, yet will I not hear them.
All right. So at this point, we have turned and we have caused our Elohim to not even hear us. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 23. You know, when this thing concerning Kyrie came about, all of a sudden I started watching videos where now you have Christians speaking out against Israelites, and it shows who their leaders are. Because see, only we have to come out and denounce other people. You know, you never see Gentiles have to come out and denounce what another Gentile said. But anytime we do something, they go get one of us to denounce it. And I watched one video where the guy, he spoke so bad. It was horrible. And I'm sure they didn't elect him to be their spokesperson. You can tell he didn't read it. He couldn't even say Deuteronomy. And see, when they always go into Deuteronomy, who? Mm-hmm. Where the hell is Deuteronomy? They go into that Deuteronomy, and then they always trying, them Hebrew Israelites always trying to prove something in Deuteronomy. They should have stopped that. I don't know who even recorded that. Ezekiel chapter 23, and let's start this at verse 1. So then what they want to do is throw all of these things back. Oh, y'all do this and y'all do that. Because their masters have told them, we need you to go and speak out against these people. Go ahead.
The word of Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Son of man, there were two women, the daughters of one mother.
Now, and one of the main things they said, you know them, they believe in that multiple marriage and stuff they be doing. Keep reading.
And they committed whoredoms in Egypt.
Now he said there's two women, daughters of one mother. Go ahead.
They committed whoredoms in their youth. There were their breasts pressed, and there they bruised the teats of their virginity. And the names of them were Aholah the elder and Aholibah her sister. And they were mine.
Stop. So the two daughters of one mother were his. So he describing his two wives. Keep reading.
And they bare sons and daughters.
Uh-huh.
Thus were their names. Samaria is Aholah, and Jerusalem Aholibah.
Stop. So this Yahweh talking about his situation. But see, when you listen to, Pastor Porkchop, who's sitting there talking about they get all this stuff from Deuteronomy. Wait a minute now. I'm reading in Ezekiel where Yahweh is describing his situation. And understand, he's talking about two women, two daughters of one mother. Now, the only one who was allowed to do that was Yaakov and Yahweh. Nobody else can have two sisters. Nobody else have had two sisters. And there was certain things that said it had to be done a certain way. Yahweh mentions this about him and Yaakov. Nobody else in this book you're going to read about that situation. Read.
And Aholah played the harlot when she was mine, and she doted on her lovers, on the Assyrians, her neighbors, which were clothed with blue, captains and rulers, all of them desirable young men, horsemen, riding upon horses.
Okay, I need to pause right there. I need y'all to go to the next graphic, and I want you to read the definition for doted. So go to graphic number 13.
H5689, a gab, to have inordinate affection or lust, participle, paramours, participle as subst, part of speech verb, related word by BDB, Strong's number, a primitive root.
So then, doted is lust. They lusted after seeing the image. There's another, go to the next graphic. There's another part. I want you to read the other definition. Go ahead.
A gap from H5689, Strong's, a gap, to breathe after, that is, to love, sensually, dote.
All right.
Low.
So when she doted, she started having the desire for these things after seeing the images. So then they made sure that you would not see any images of you, because you might fall in love with you. Now I want you to back up. And let's go back to graphic number 12 And let's finish that in Ezekiel.
Thus she committed her whoredoms with them, with all them that were the chosen men of Assyria, and with all on whom she doted. With all their idols she defiled herself. Neither left she her whoredoms brought from Egypt.
Neither left she her whoredoms from Egypt. So all that imagery is compounding. So they know Israel like images. So we're going to make sure when they go to church on Sunday, they're going to see images of white Jesus so they learn to respect him. But they will not see any images of any Christian niggers. So they might have affection for their own people. Right. Imagery is powerful. Go ahead.
For in her youth they lay with her, and they bruised the breast of her virginity, and poured their whoredom upon her. Wherefore I have delivered her into the hand of her lovers, into the hand of the Assyrians, upon whom she doted. These discovered her nakedness. They took her sons and her daughters, and slew her with the sword. And she became famous among women, for they have executed judgment upon her. And when her sister Aholibah saw this, she was more corrupt in her inordinate love than she, and in her whoredoms more than her sister in her whoredoms. She doted upon the Assyrians, her neighbors, captains and rulers, clothed most gorgeously, horsemen riding upon horses, all of them desirable young men.
She doted upon the Assyrians, her neighbors, captains and rulers, clothed most gorgeously. And you know, hey, when we want to get some attention, we make sure we clothed. Right. Right. Go ahead.
Then I saw that she was defiled, that they took both one way.
Yahweh gets very graphic, of which I'm not going to go into. Keep reading.
And that she increased her whoredoms. For when she saw men portrayed upon the wall, the images of the Chaldeans portrayed with vermilion, girded with girdles upon their loins, exceeding in dyed attire upon their heads, all of them princes to look to, after the manner of the Babylonians of Chaldea, the land of their nativity. And as soon as she saw them with her eyes, she doted upon them and sent messengers unto them in Chaldea.
Right. We saw their culture and we started to desire, oh, that looks fun. There's a reason why they present this imagery of whatever they have going on. You go to the store, you ain't coming out without a bag that don't have Santa Claus on. You buy something, St. Nick coming home. They make sure you see all the imagery of the things that they are dealing with, whether you like it or not. They don't ask you, would you like a Christmas bag or a Passover bag? No, you're going home with a Christmas bag. Go ahead.
You know, it's interesting because, you know, we go through this and then when you kind of get into it, all we saw was just pictures on a wall and started desiring to be like these people because of the pictures. And then you think about what they did to the images in Egypt of the Sphinx and all those things. Because what, like you said, let's not give them an image that look like them. What they do, shut off all the noses, right?
Right.
And they've been whitewashing all that stuff ever since.
Right. What do you think about the images of every commercial? Brother, every commercial has a interracial couple in it. What are the images that they are trying to give us? That we are not even good enough for one another. Even the gay couple, you don't even find black gay couples. The gay couple is one white one and one black one. Damn, we ain't even good enough as gays. They got to find something else. That's the imagery that they put. Sit and watch television in every commercial. Has an interracial. People say you can love who you want to say. This ain't about love. This is about imagery. This is about the image that you want us to see about us. It's getting so deep that they don't even have to show the white parent. They'll show a guy as dark as Mishael. And then you see the little light-skinned curly-haired daughter. Come on now. You don't think we can put two and two together? Now how, brother, who would be described as nigger, according to the definition, how he get the little light-skinned curly-haired baby? What is the imagery? This is not about love. And I ain't the love police. But I can tell you that imagery is meant to psychologically do something to us. Because it's in every commercial. It's in almost all the shows. Images. Look at what the images did to us. And people say, why does it matter if Christ is black or white? Obviously it matters because I'm looking at the power of what this imagery has done to us from the beginning to now. So when people say it does not matter, according to this book, it matters greatly. The image that you are presented. Go ahead.
Verse 17. And the Babylonians came to her into the bed of love, and they defiled her with their whoredom, and she was polluted with them, and her mind was alienated from them. So she discovered her whoredoms and discovered her nakedness. Then my mind was alienated from her, like as my mind was alienated from her sister.
You know, half the time, we go into, things and we like, we got this problem in our house. We got this problem. Do you not see that Yahweh has a problem in his house? So what makes you above having problems in your house?
Well, I'm on the word, so I figure everything should just be, good. I mean, she should understand, what the word say, and she should just do what the word say.
Well, why didn't the hell you do it? Oh, you didn't know you was the wife in this situation? Why didn't you do it? Here's Yahweh talking about his house problem. We're reading this. We in marriage counseling. This marriage counseling right here. You don't understand what you're reading? He's talking about the problem that he's having with his two wives. And even though one of them saw it, then the other one turned around and did the same thing. Right. But we want to tell her what she need to do. What about what you need to do? You don't see you here? See, we're so busy reading her, we don't know that her is you. Her is he. He is we. This us. And he having a problem with us. Why didn't you just follow the rules? Right. So before he can get her to follow, he need for you to understand what you did to him. Read.
Verse 19. Yet she multiplied her whoredoms in calling to remembrance the days of her youth, wherein she had played the harlot in the land of Egypt. For she doted upon their paramours, whose flesh is as the flesh of asses, and whose issue is like the issue of horses.
Not going into that one. Go ahead.
Thus you call to remembrance the lewdness of your youth, and bruising your teats by the Egyptians for the paps of your youth. Therefore, O Aholibah, thus says the Adonai Yah, behold, I will raise up your lovers against you.
And ain't that the problem we having right now? All the ones we give all our attention, our money, our time to, those are the ones that abuse us the most. Go ahead.
From whom your mind is alienated, and I'll bring them against you on every side. The Babylonians and all the Chaldeans, Pekod and Shoah and Koah, and all the Assyrians with them, all of them desirable young men, captains and rulers, great masters and renowned, all of them riding upon horses. And they shall come against you with chariots, wagons, and wheels, and with an assembly of people, which shall set against you buckler and shield and helmet round about.
Okay, stop. I need for you to understand something. This is Yahweh making sure that his wives suffer some hardship for how they have behaved in his house. I need you to hear this and understand. Go ahead.
And I'll set judgment before them, and they shall judge you according to their judgments. And I'll set my jealousy against you, and they shall deal furiously with you. They shall take away your nose and your ears, and your remnant shall fall by the sword. They shall take away your sons and your daughters, and your residue shall be devoured by the fire. They shall also strip you out of your clothes, and take away your fair jewels.
Right. Didn't all this happen to us? Where did this happen to those people who just miraculously appeared in the land? Go ahead.
Thus will I make your lewdness to cease from you, and your whoredom brought from the land of Egypt, so that you shall not lift up your eyes unto them, nor remember Egypt any more. For thus says the Adonai Yahweh, behold, I'll deliver you into the hand of them whom you hated, into the hand of them from whom your mind is alienated. And they shall deal with you hatefully.
Right. So when we get to this point and we start having all this whining going on, understand you created this bed for yourself. He said, I'm going to deliver you to them whom you hate. Go ahead.
And shall take away all your labor, and shall leave you naked and bare, and the nakedness of your whoredoms shall be discovered, both your lewdness and your whoredoms.
So Yahweh was making a point while we was in slavery, badly clothed. He was making a point. See, we so busy trying to get the punishment over, we're not understanding the points. No. You got to go through all these things, because these are the things that I said that it was going to happen to you if you kept going. You kept going. See, a man can't come in his house and say, look here, if you keep doing this, I'm taking all of this stuff out of here. Then he come home and they do it. And you don't do nothing. You can cause yourself some problems. But half our problem is we don't want to punish us. Well, if I take the TV out, then I can't watch none. Go ahead.
I will do these things unto you, because you have gone a whoring after the heathen, and because you are polluted with their idols. You have walked in the way of your sister, therefore I will give her cup into your hand. Thus says the Adonai Yah, you shall drink of your sister's cup deep and large. You shall be laughed to scorn and had in derision, and it containeth much. You shall be filled with drunkenness and sorrow, with the cup of astonishment and desolation, with the cup of your sister Samaria. You shall even drink it and suck it out, and you shall break the sherds thereof, and pluck off your own breast, for I have spoken it, says the Adonai Yah. Therefore thus says the Adonai Yah, because you have forgotten me, and cast me behind your back, therefore bear you also your lewdness and your whoredoms. Yahweh said moreover unto me, Son of man, will you judge Aholah and Aholibah? Yes, declare unto them their abominations, that they have committed adultery, and blood is in their hands.
They have committed adultery. So that when we get to the point of worshiping all of these things, we are committing spiritual adultery. So when you talk about all of these people that are about to gather together for their Christmas celebration, they're about to go to a whorehouse and commit adultery. And then people want to know, so how can I go? I mean, I ain't going to worship their God. And you got to think about that. So can I go to a whorehouse? I ain't going to partake in none of the whores. I'm just going to look at them do whorish things. Boy, stop. Boy, stop. Read, bro.
And with their idols have they committed adultery, and have also caused their sons, whom they bear unto me, to pass for them through the fire, to devour them. Moreover, this they have done unto me. They have defiled my sanctuary in the same day, and have profaned my Sabbaths. For when they had slain their children to their idols, then they came the same day into my sanctuary to profane it.
Right.
And
see, we don't even understand the power of having things, the sanctification or the day starting at sundown, and then us beginning our holy days at that point. You are absolutely spiritually clean at that point. It is the change of a day. He says they did these things the same day and then walked in my sanctuary. I watched a program where the guy was saying how he engaged with his woman and went to church. We had people that came through here that said they was encouraged in their last place where they worship. That this is how you bring the Sabbath in. What? And this is supposed to be a messianic Hebrew congregation. They encouraged them to have relations on Friday night and then come and keep the Sabbath. Now they say, after we explained to them that they couldn't, do that, but understanding how that turned out, I think it was a little bit more bringing in the Sabbath than we know. I mean, I'm not going, what I'm saying? I ain't the Pootie Tang police. I'm not going in there to see if you tippy-tay. I'm not finna check to see if you did the Nemi on the Nemi side. I'm not finna do that. You understand? Like, I'm supposed to see if he tippy-tayed on the Nemi side. I'm not finna do that. But I know what you was talking for. You got here. And judging by the end of that, I definitely think it was some tippy-tay. Okay? Go ahead, Bree.
You got to think about this whole situation right here, right? Think about when it was going from one whorehouse to the next whorehouse, so it really didn't matter. But clubbing was Friday night. Mm-hmm. Sometimes Saturday night. Uh-huh. And people usually leave straight from the club and go where?
To church. Yeah, sometimes with the same outfit on. With the same gyration juice that they done had all night. Right. Somebody gonna make $1 million when they make that gyration juice in a store near you. Folk gonna run to go get it. Yeah. Go ahead, brother.
Then they came the same day into my sanctuary to profane it, and lo, thus have they done in the midst of mine house. Uh-huh. And furthermore, that you have sent...
But see, we wrong when we say, hey, you need to sanctify yourself before you come up in here. People get mad. Well, I don't want to go there. You limiting people. Let the limit be on then. Well, you'd really grow if you do that. Hey. No, we all right. You'd grow tremendously if you would allow. Yeah. It just would be more of me to get thrown in the fire. Go ahead.
And furthermore, that you have sent for men to come from far, unto whom a messenger was sent. And lo, they came, for whom you did wash yourself, painted your eyes, and decked yourself with ornaments.
Uh-huh. See, and they say, wait a minute, what you mean we ain't gonna wear no makeup coming on the Sabbath day? Hey, there are people who never came back once they heard that. No makeup on Sabbath day? I wear makeup every day. God want me to be beautiful. What do you mean I gotta cover my head? I just went to the hairdresser. Right. Go ahead.
And satteth upon a stately bed, and a table prepared before it.
Okay, so when they paint their eyes, paint their face, deal with their eyelids, then he says they got on a stately bed. So they were decking themselves out for a specific action. Mm-hmm. So when you come in here, who the hell you think you finna get with up in here? I got to wash the room. Hey, follow that sister back down. She decked out with those ornaments. Who you getting ready for? Because they doing this, and then they sitting on the bed. So what are you doing when you put all that on? You telling the man, I'm ready. I said, I'm ready. You can't be ready up in here. You gotta go home and get ready. You can get ready in here. Tell me, are you ready? No, you're not ready in here. ready at your house. Go ahead, Bree.
Whereupon you have set mine incense and mine oil. And a voice of a multitude being at ease was with her. And with the men of the common sort were brought Sabaeans from the wilderness, which put bracelets upon their hands and beautiful crowns upon their heads. Then said I unto her that was old in adulteries, will they now commit whoredoms with her, and she with them? Yet they went in unto her, as they go in unto a woman that plays the harlot.
Now listen, this is how he takes us partaking in these things. So when people say, I'm just gonna go to the Thanksgiving, dinner, but I ain't gonna eat none of it. This is how your God said, oh, you gonna go there? Go ahead.
So went they in unto Aholah and unto Aholibah, the lewd women. And the righteous men, they shall judge them after the manner of adulteresses, and after the manner of women that shed blood, because they are adulteresses, and blood is in their hands. For thus says the Adonai, I'll bring up a company upon them, and will give them to be removed and spoiled. And the company shall stone them with stones, and dispatch them with the swords. They shall slay their sons and their daughters, and burn up their houses with fire.
Didn't that happen to us here? They set our houses on fire for anything. Black Wall Street never got rebuilt. Burnt down an entire community. And they wonder, they say, oh, well, why your people haven't advanced? Because every time we advance too much, y'all set it on fire. Understand something? It wasn't Pookie's house they were setting on fire. It was the doctors and the lawyers, the people who had achieved too much. They were looking at, man, that nigger got a piano. I ain't even got a piano. That house went up in flames. Go ahead.
Well, you had to think about it. Set on fire. What happens to your works when you commit a sin?
Sometimes we should hear the smoke. What was that? That was your work you just set on fire with that last thing you just did. See, that's what we need to hear. We need to record that and just play it when somebody do something. Hold on for a second. All right, I just need you to hear that. Right, that was it going up in flame. Go ahead.
Thus will I cause lewdness to cease out of the land, that all women may be taught not to do after your lewdness. And they shall recompense your lewdness upon you, and you shall bear the sins of your idols, and you shall know that I am the Adonai Yahweh.
All right, I want you guys to go to graphic number 15. And brother, I want you to read what we have on graphic number 15.
Whosoever puts away his wife.
Now, understand something. Yahweh's wife has committed adultery. Now, I want you to read what is written. This is New Testament. Okay? Because what happens is when all this thing came out, they decided that they would say all of these things about so-called Hebrew Israelites or those who keep Messianic Judaism. All right? Because we operate by what's written in this word. And what that is only keeping your covenant. But read this.
Whosoever puts away his wife and marries another commits adultery.
Stop. These people will accuse you of all of these things. The percentage of people on Sunday morning who have been divorced and remarried is astonishing. And those people come and point the finger at you because you decided to hold on to the covenants that you made. It says point blank, whosoever puts away his wife and marries another commits adultery. But it doesn't stop there. Keep reading.
And whosoever marries her that is put away from her husband commits adultery.
So then the next dude committed adultery. You know how many adulterers and adulteresses you got sitting up there talking about, praise God. Won't he do it? Oh, he gonna do it. And you gonna get done. Don't you worry about that. He gonna do it. Let's go to the next graphic. And that was Luke 16, verse 18, the one we just read. Go ahead.
And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife except it be for fornication.
Now, wait a minute. Now you got to still look at Yahweh's situation. Now, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication. Now, Yahweh's wife did fornicate. He still didn't put her away. Go ahead.
And shall marry another, commits adultery.
Right. So the very thing that they're calling adultery is not what adultery is, according to the New Testament that they're supposed to believe in. So how many of them are walking in adultery and believe that they covered? See, this is where the power of the baptism comes in. See, people don't understand. See, what I call them is zombies in the rearview mirror. See, that's all them leeches that you thought you took a bath and got off, and them leeches still attached to you. He says, except it be for fornication and shall marry another, commits adultery. Keep reading.
And whoso marries her which is put away does commit adultery.
So then you have this situation here that Christ is putting forth. Now, I want to go read something else. Let's go to Luke chapter 20. Because see, what images do is images are a direct correlation to culture. So Luke chapter 20. So at certain things, they're going to make sure you don't see because you might actually start to uphold your culture. So in Luke chapter 20, we're going to start this at verse 27.
Then came to him certain of the Sadducees, which deny that there is any resurrection. And they asked him.
So the subject is resurrection, but they get off into some other things. Go ahead.
Saying, Master, Moshe wrote unto us.
Now listen to Moshe wrote unto us. This is the law. Understand the way this law is, and I want you to listen to it. Go ahead.
If any man's brother die, having a wife, and he die without children, that his brother should take his wife and raise up seed unto his brother.
Now, that is the law. Did you hear any other thing contained in that law? Did it say, unless he already married? The law didn't care whether or not he was married. If his brother died, he got to marry his brother's widow. This is being brought to Yahshua. He has the opportunity to cut this down. He does not. This is how when people pick individuals whom they're going to marry, this is a family situation. Because the brother got to say, hey man, hold on, bro. If something happened to you, you mean I got to take that? Oh, hell to the no. You got to pick you somebody else. Well, I'm going to need you to stay alive, Jack. Because I don't want no parts of that. You understand what I'm saying to you? Why don't you pick one of these women? There's some nice women down there. So your brother get a woman so horrible, you try to make sure he's living at all costs. Did you fall, my brother? Are you okay? I bringeth Band-Aids. I don't want that. Go ahead.
Or make sure he bring forth seed with her.
Hey, exactly. I need to make sure. Y'all had a child yet? Did y'all have a child yet? Did y'all have a child yet? Please tell me y'all had a child. Did y'all have a child yet? Did y'all have a child yet? What about a child? Y'all ain't gonna have no child? Bro, how many times you gonna ask me, are we gonna have children? Because I'm trying to free myself of this responsibility if something happened to you. Because this woman stayed in the family. Keep reading.
There were therefore 7 brethren.
Uh-huh.
And the first took a wife and died without children.
Uh-huh.
And the second took her to wife, and he died childless.
This is all New Testament. I need you to understand that this law is written in the Old Testament, and then he's restating this law and bringing it to Yahshua. Go ahead.
And the third took her, and in like manner the 7 also, and they left no children and died.
And y'all know what they would call this woman if she done been through 7 men in one family. She would be called all kind of names. Go ahead.
Last of all, the woman died also. Therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife of them is she? For 7 had her to wife. And Yahshua answering said unto them, the children of this world marry and are given in marriage. But they which shall be accounted worthy to obtain that world and the resurrection from the dead, neither marry nor are given in marriage.
Right. They're going to be resurrected with a different body. They don't have that desire. Now, somehow, somebody, told me that a teaching came across that all the women going to be turned into men. Man. Read, priest.
Neither can they die anymore, for they are equal unto the angels and are the children of Elohim, being the children of the resurrection.
And you can tell when a man has no ability to deal with women, he's got to make everybody in the kingdom men. Because he has no ability to deal with a woman. Now, everybody gonna be men? Even the woman? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to see no women men. So if it's gonna be trainers in the kingdom. Imagine me seeing my sister who used to be a sister and now she my brother. Man, that kingdom is twisted. Now I'm playing basketball in the kingdom with my sister brother. Now I'm trying to dunk on my sister brother. Bro, you a man now. You a man now. Yeah. Now we can play tackle. What? Go ahead, priest.
Verse 33 kills that whole concept. It says, therefore in the resurrection, whose wife of them is she?
Right. Right. So she's still a she. When she wake up. Mm-hmm. She didn't wake up a he. But you see, it's twisted teaching. Now they got unisex bathrooms in the kingdom. Go ahead, priest.
Now that the dead are raised, even Moshe showed at the bush when he calls the Adonai, the Elohim of Abraham, and the El of Esau, and the El of Jacob, for he's not a El of the dead, but of the living, for all live unto him. Then certain of the scribes answering said, Master, you have well said.
Uh-huh.
And after that, they does not ask him any question at all.
Right. That killed the questions. He went so deep with this situation, they left it alone. But he did not cut down this biblical concept. This is culture. And what the Euro-Gentiles are afraid of, if we take hold of this culture, we're going to multiply too much more than them. We already multiply more than everybody else. So they cannot allow you to take part of this culture, then you will no longer be a minority. Let's go to Revelation chapter 21. But see, then we'll come and bring the strange doctrine that Master done told us, and we'll come run and jump in somebody else's face with it, not even understanding why they push these things forward. They sure wasn't abiding by any of this as they went out to the slave house and raped those slaves. Wait a minute, man. I thought you wasn't supposed to have but one. What you doing out here? Revelation chapter 21, and we're going to read verses 5 through 8.
And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, It is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I'll give unto him that is a thirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcomes shall inherit all things, and I'll be his El, and he shall be my son.
Now, Priest Kish got into a debate when we went to teach at the prison, And he mentioned one of these parts in here, and it threw off the Catholic nun lady. She was totally appalled by the stuff that was coming out of his mouth. Read verse 8.
But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers.
Whoremongers. Wait a minute. So the ones who marry, divorce, I don't think you understand. Those are whoremongers. Okay, keep reading.
And sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars.
Okay, which liars?
All liars.
No. What about the little white lies?
You being like the Catholic lady now.
That is. That what she said to priest kids? What you mean? Even the little white lies? Now, this a white lady talking to us about white lies. Now, see, we would have been wrong if we said, no, a big black hairy lie like me. So what? So you tell white lies and I tell big black hairy ones? Is that what that is? Yeah. He said, no, all liars. She was like, well, I never. He didn't say it, but I know his mind was like, and you never will. You know what I'm saying? He ain't say it. But you know, whenever Kid's face get real straight, oh, he got the worst stuff in his head. This is when the worst stuff is in there. Completely straight. I'm talking about straight like a wall, Jack. He shows nothing. But there's a lot going on in there. Go ahead, bro.
Shall have their part in the lake which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death.
All right. Let's go to the next graphic, and I want you to read that right there. Because people said, well, if you say that, Sok, nobody has a chance. See, our doctrine gives man a chance. Yahweh always gives man a chance. Go ahead. Read this right here. Just read off the graphic. You ain't got to go pull it.
But when we are judged, we're chastened of the Adonai.
When we are judged, that means those issues and those problems that he brings in our life. The very thing that you're trying to run away from is your judgment so that you don't get in the lake of fire with them. Go ahead.
That we should not be condemned with the world.
Right. You running from the thing that's going to keep you out of the fire. I need to be free of this. You free of that, you're going to get in there. You know what? Never mind. I'm sorry. Go. All right. Tell them to come on back in. Right. Now let's go to John chapter 3. John chapter 3, and we're going to read verses 1 through 12.
There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Yehudis. The same came to Yahshua by night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that you're a teacher come from Elohim. For no man can do these miracles that you doeth, except Elohim be with him. Yahshua answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto you, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of Elohim.
Except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom. Okay? The word says, it talks about he that believes and is baptized. So there is an action that we're supposed to take. But, because nobody knew any better, they were mesmerized by the numbers of people who ended up marching at that game. See, they didn't know any better. If they knew anything, they would have said, so out of all those thousands, how many of those are baptized? Goosehead. These many. Oh. So you didn't show up with anybody at all. They talking about, this is a bunch of men of Israel. No, it wasn't. Those wasn't even fetuses of Israel. Go ahead.
Nicodemus says unto him, How can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born? Yahshua answered, Verily, verily, I say unto you, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of Elohim.
His words, it's in red. Sok didn't say this. Sok didn't say this. The word says this. Everybody claimed that they follow the word until the word goes and says something that they don't like. Then they got to make up, see what had happened was, See, when the translators came to translate the translation of the transliteration, they transcribed it in a transcription that was translucent. What? Read.
That which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I said unto you, you must be born again.
All right, so stay focused. What people will tell you, you are cleansed by the washing of the word. This ain't about cleansing. This is about born again. Stay focused. Maintain the focus of the discussion. Do not let anybody change this, and they will read to you talking about some cleansed by the washing of the word. This ain't about a wash. This is about being born again. When you're born again, you wipe off those old sins. All them people marching with all the same old sins on them that they had before. And if that's what you come to Yahshua with, you ain't getting in. And you sure ain't getting in calling him no Jesus or Lord. He said, I'm going to take away the names of Baalim out of her mouth. What do you think Lord is? Lord is Baal. How you going to come to a great king and call him out his name? Go ahead.
The wind blows where it listeth, and you hear the sound thereof, but cannot tell whence it comes and where it goes. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit. Nicodemus answered and said unto him, how can these things be? Yahshua answered and said unto him, are you a master of Israel and knoweth not these things?
How you call yourself this and that? We walk around with all these titles. I'm a captain, I'm a sergeant, I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm an apostle. But you don't understand this basic concept right here? How you call yourself a master of Israel and you don't know these things? We so busy playing battle script so we can throw out any kind of scripture. You mean tell me you don't understand this basic concept right here? Man was born out of water coming out of his mother's womb. The earth was born again coming out of the water during Noah. The children of Israel walked through a wall of water coming out of Egypt. How is it that you don't understand spiritual rebirth and a baptism in the correct name? How is it you do not understand that? But you call yourself a master of Israel. Read, priest.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, we speak that we do know and testify that we have seen, and you receive not our witness. If I have told you earthly things and you believe not, how shall you believe if I tell you of heavenly things?
All right, brother. Let's go to this next graphic for me. And I want you to read that so they won't say, Sock said. I want you to read it.
And he said unto them, go you into all the world.
Now, who is he? Who is he?
Yahshua.
Yahshua. Okay. Go ahead.
And preach the gospel to every creature. He that believes and
now, wait. Preach the gospel to every creature. So you can't say, you know what, white people, I'm not going to teach you. See, because y'all this and y'all that. Whoa. He said, preach the gospel to every creature. He didn't even say every man. Hey, I'll preach it to a dog if the dog will listen. The dog keep coming. Come here, dog. Woo! Come here. All right, come here. Have you heard of Yahshua? Hey, I don't know. Yahshua might get that dog some word and he'd be like, yeah, I done heard of. Now, I might pass out after that if the dog answer back. All right, but when I wake up, I'm going to teach that dog. You know what I'm talking about? He said, I preach the word to every creature. Hey, what happened when the donkey talked? Didn't the donkey talk? All right. Now the donkey come in, Sock, I want to learn some word. Now, you can't come in here. But I'm going to teach you as soon as I get done. We're going to come out there in the parking lot, and I'm going to teach that donkey. And I'm going to tell him, now, you go tell all the other asses what I said. Go ahead, brother.
He that believes and is baptized shall be saved.
He that believes and is baptized. That's an equation. People say, you believe. All right. But what comes with belief? Baptism. But baptism in the correct name. As it is stated in Acts. It says, there's none other name given among men whereby we must be saved. None. And people say, well, he got many names. according to this word, there's none other name given among men whereby we must be saved. We know that the name Jesus didn't even exist. So if that's what your baptism is, you might as well get baptized in the name of how to do it. It carried the same weight. For 1,630 years, they never even heard that name. Now all of a sudden, the name got so much power, you say it and people just pass out. Jesus, they hit the ground. That name ain't but 400 years old. How you passing out on the name? Right. So we have gotten into this point where we are worshiping idols, and the idol worshipers run up to us to try to make us give an account of what we worship. The cult keepers are coming to us and accusing us of being in a cult. But let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 18. First Kings chapter 18, and we're going to start that at verse 1.
And it came to pass after many days that the word of Yahweh came to Eliah in the 3rd year, saying, Go show yourself unto Ahab, and I'll send rain upon the earth. And Eliah went to show himself unto Ahab, and there was a sore famine in Samaria. And Ahab called Obadiah, which was the governor of his house. Now Obadiah feared Yahweh greatly. For it was so, when Jezebel cut off the prophets of Yahweh, that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave, and fed them with bread and water.
Right, he took his own life in his hands doing this. See, I watch, and it's interesting even looking at the name of this man, even though the people that was over him were doing something to Yahweh's servants. He went outside of what he was instructed to do and still preserved Yahweh's servants. I've watched situations, especially after my elder died. Their leader said such and such, and they attacked Yahweh's servants because the leader said so. And they think that they are covered. They don't understand that they're going to pay for that. You don't get the right because your leader wrong. The biblical Obadiah understood that. These people who name themselves these names, they don't understand that. But the biblical one did. Go ahead.
And Ahab said unto Obadiah, Go into the land, unto all fountains of water, and unto all brooks. Peradventure you may find grass to save the horses and mules alive, that we lose not all the beasts. So they divided the land between them to pass through it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went another way by himself. And as Obadiah was in the way, behold, Eliah met him. And he knew him, and fell on his face, and said, Are you that my master Eliah? And he answered him, I am. Go and tell your master, behold, Eliah is here. And he said, What have I sinned, that you would deliver your servant into the hand of Ahab to slay me?
Right, because as soon as something don't go his way, he gonna kill everybody. This is the kind of leader that our people ended up with when my elder died. You didn't do what he said do, he slayed you. But the biblical Obadiah didn't get scared. He made sure he preserved Yahweh's servants. But he know what kind of man he dealing with. So even when Elijah said, go tell him, no, man, you trying to get me killed. Go ahead.
As Yahweh your Elohim lives, there's no nation or kingdom where the master has not sent to seek you. And when they said he's not there, he took an oath of the kingdom and nation that they found you not. And now you said, Go tell your master, behold, Eliah is here. And it shall come to pass, as soon as I am gone from you, that the Spirit of Yahweh shall carry you whither I know not. And so when I come and tell Ahab, and he cannot find you, he shall slay me.
Right. This is the kind of man he is. This is who his master is. See? And we think we getting ourselves an excuse because you had a hard master that now he has okayed your dealings. No, he didn't. There are people that think they hard master forgave the covenants that they made. All of a sudden, they can get out of those things. And your master gave you that. You're going to see what authority your master has when you meet your real master. Go ahead.
But I, your servant, fear Yahweh from my youth. Was it not told my master what I did when Jezebel slew the prophets of Yahweh, how I hid 100 men of Yahweh's prophets by 50 in a cave, and fed them with bread and water? And now you saith, go tell your master, behold, Eliah is here, and he shall slay me. And Eliah said, as Yahweh of hosts lives, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself unto him today. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab, and told him, and Ahab went to meet Eliah. And it came to pass, when Ahab saw Eliah, that Ahab said unto him, are you he that troubles Israel?
Now, the troubler of Israel as a real servant, are you he that troubles Israel? Okay, pay attention. The people who are in a cult come to the real servants and accuse them of being in the cult. Do you see it? Go ahead.
And he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but you and your father's house.
And you see he didn't spell no words too, right? All right, so what you supposed to do? Okay, go ahead.
And that you have forsaken the commandments of Yahweh, and you have followed Baalim.
Right. Is that not what's about to happen? Is that not what happened? You have forsaken the commandments of Yahweh, your Elohim, and you have followed Lord, or Baal, or Baalim. Same thing. Go ahead.
Now therefore send, and gather to me all Israel unto Mount Carmel, and the prophets of Baal 450, and the prophets of the groves 400, which eat at Jezebel's table. So Ahab sent unto all the children of Israel, and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. And Eliah came unto all the people, and said, how long halt you between two opinions? If Yahweh be El, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word.
Right. How long halt you between two opinions? Pick one of them that you're going to serve. Because you taking the imagery of this stuff that you into, and then you're going to bring it over here and merge it with Yahweh. No. Pick you who you going to serve. Go ahead.
Then said Eliah unto the people, I, even I only, remain a prophet of the Yahweh. But Baal's prophets are 450 men. Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks.
Stop. This is also how the heathen justify itself. Y'all go to that little church over there? You know that little church y'all go to? Whoosh. Pastor got that many cars himself. Right. Go ahead.
Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And I'll dress the other bullock, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And call you on the name of your gods, and I will call on the name of Yahweh. And the El that answers by fire, let him be El. And all the people answered and said, it is well spoken. And Eliah said unto the prophets of Baal, choose you 1 bullock for yourselves, and dress it first, for you are many. And call on the name of your gods, but put no fire under. And they took the bullock which was given them, and they dressed it, and called on the name of Baal from morning even until noon, saying, O Baal, hear us.
Oh Lord, hear us. Right. Go ahead.
But there was no voice, nor any that answered. And they leaped upon the altar which was made.
Right.
And it came to pass at noon that Eliah mocked them and said, cry aloud, for he is a god. Either he's talking, or he's pursuing, or he's in a journey, or peradventure he sleeps and must be awakened.
And people say, so why are you mocking people? I'm just reading out that book right here. He's where you got it. Maybe call him louder. Go ahead.
And they cried aloud, and cut themselves after their manner with knives and lancets. till the blood gushed out upon them.
Now, in certain countries, they have that where they said they doing it for the thing of Christ, and they cutting the lancets, and they doing that to themselves and making themselves bleed. How is it that this is being done and Christ ain't here yet? Right. See, they disguise their imagery and make it fit into Christianity, so the people thinking that that's what they're doing. No. Y'all was already doing it. That's the worship of Lord. But then again, they do call their God Lord. So it is Lord worship. It's just a different Lord than what they think they're dealing with. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, when midday was past, and they prophesied until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that there was neither voice, nor any to answer, nor any that regarded. And Elias said unto all the people, Come near unto me. And all the people came near unto him. And he repaired the altar of Yahweh that was broken down. And Elias took 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, unto whom the word of Yahweh came, saying, Israel shall be your name. And with the stones he built an altar in the name of Yahweh. And he made a trench about the altar, as great as would contain 2 measures of seed. And he put the wood in order, and cut the bullock in pieces, and laid him on the wood, and said, Fill 4 barrels with water, and pour it on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood. And he said, Do it the second time. And they did it the second time. And he said, Do it the third time. And they did it the third time.
Now, if anybody is trying to get something to catch on fire, you know the one thing you don't do is pour water on it. I'm trying to set this on fire. Now pour the water on it. Okay, now pour some more water on it. Okay, all right, now pour some more water on it. They got to be looking like, is he crazy? How he gonna get this to catch on fire with all this water? This is the way Yahweh works. He loves an impossible setting. That way nobody gets the glory except him. Go ahead.
And the water ran round about the altar, and he filled the trench also with water. And it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Yahweh Elohim of Abraham, Esaac, and of Israel.
He let it be known what God he talking to. Okay? They're God's men. No. It's only the God I want. This is God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is only God I want. I don't want nobody else to answer this. Go ahead.
Let it be known this day that you are El in Israel, and that I am your servant, and that I have done all these things at your word. Hear me, O Yahweh, hear me, that this people may know that you are Yahweh Elohim, and that you have turned their heart back again. Then the fire of Yahweh fell and consumed the burnt sacrifice, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench.
That's a fire. See, that's a fire. The water gone. Go ahead.
And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces, and they said, Yahweh, he is El. Yahweh, he is the El. And Elias said unto them, Take the prophets of Baal, let none of them escape. And they took them, and Elias brought them down to the brook Kishon and slew them there.
And you when you look at this situation, we know that the idols have no power in them whatsoever. But the people will sit there and cry. They'll sit there and do all of these things for this feeling. See, when we didn't know any better, when they start seeing the Christmas lights, I know that feeling because I used to get it. Oh man, it's a euphoric feeling you get when the Christmas lights come out. Until you learn. And then you understand that's just a light just like that right here. I didn't get no euphoric feeling when y'all flip that switch and turn that light on. Ooh, light. I didn't get that. I didn't get that. Why? Because my understanding says I understand what that is. That's just light. So what the Christmas lights used to do to me, they don't do that to me anymore. Why? Because I have understanding. So you have to let your understanding do what it does, so that we are not provoked into getting into these worship practices of the heathen, and be ready, as it is written, to give them an answer of the great hope that you have in this word. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat